Hey, what's up guys? So I have a discussion for you guys. We're going to be talking about the elemental dragons and potentially some cards that can maybe hit the deck a little bit, like, cards you can side deck against this, because I find this deck just way too good because, we have Divine Judgment for the spellbooks coming out, and that card is really nasty. However, it doesn't really stun you. Essentially, they activate it, they go through, like, plus a whole bunch next turn, and next turn they're going to win. Pretty much, next turn they win after they activate that and drop a whole bunch of spell cards. The thing with Elemental Dragons is they can go through a whole bunch of cards, and then it doesn't matter how many cards they have in their hand because they can just, use the graveyard and manipulate that to get out their monsters again and make, Big Eye and the Phantom Beastcraft. And the thing with the deck right now is a lot of players that are looking to, make a competitive deck are, playing this build, which basically, gets out a first turn Light and Darkness Dragon plus a 2600 monster. And on top of that, you have options for if your opponent happens to get over that, you can just go for a Big Eye next turn and take whatever they make. Now, a really common play is just basically they just discard one of the smaller elemental dragons, and they get the big one out, and then they just do it twice, and then they get two monsters they haven't even normal summoned, and then they basically get out the Mecha Phantom Beastcraft Dragosack, and he has the effect where he can get two tokens out. Then you just tribute those two tokens for Light and Darkness Dragon, and then a Super Rejuve can be dropped after that, and then they get to go plus. They're like, oh, it's cool. I just exhausted my whole hand. I'm just going to go Super Plus. I have a Light and Darkness Dragon and a 2600 monster on board. Go ahead. And most meta decks, they just can't really do anything. I mean, unless you have like Treeborn Frog ready to come back and potentially ruin Light and Darkness Dragon, it really becomes a problematic situation. Now, there's certain decks like Evil Swarms, which I think will be really nasty for the deck to really match up against. Like, if you match up and the player 1 goes, first turn, Ophion, your turn, the Elemental Dragon player is like, oh, shoot, that kind of becomes a problem for them, I would say. Ophion's pretty nasty, plus, like, Thunder King, it stops them from searching. It's a pretty nice card as well. And I've seen some players use the Droll and Lockbird, and, I want to know what are some other good side deck cards against this deck, because this deck is, like, not even fair at all. It's like kind of like Shockmaster essentially first turn, because Light and Darkness Dragon basically stops whatever you do. It's just like, at least with Shockmaster you might have spells, and if they call monsters effects, you could just use whatever one they didn't call. Like, they usually call monster effects or spells, and you just get out Tour Guide, go Acid Golem, or number 17 run over Shockmaster. Or, you could potentially still draw Dark Hole, whereas this is like, no, you can't do anything. Like, there's very few decks that can deal with the first turn Light and Darkness Dragon. It's just really nasty to deal with. On top of that, they just have the options to go for too many cards. So, I want to know, what would you guys side deck against Elemental Dragons? Because off the top of my head, I mean, I personally think that this card it's an okay card against some of the like Divine Judgment and the Elemental Dragons, but like this card, it is kind of minus, but you prevent yourself from losing, I guess. And it doesn't let you like plus. I mean, I guess you can try Max C. That can be an option against the deck, but I mean, how viable is Max C for maybe like 2 cards, like against that deck, which is already going to have a Light and Darkness Dragon on the field? They won't really care if you go +1, because you're going to have to use so many resources to get rid of Light and Darkness and a 2600 attacker. It just becomes problematic, in my opinion. But yeah, let me know what you guys are side decking against this deck, because off the top of my head, I really don't know what to side deck against this deck, and I've had a few people request me to make some videos on how to side deck against this, because it's a popular deck right now. You gotta be ready to face this deck when it comes out. I hope to change the wording on this so you can only summon like 1 Elemental Dragon per turn or something like that, because as of right now, the metagame is gonna be, I don't know, I don't really like where this is going. Like, Elemental Dragon's really OP at the moment. But anyways, let me know in the comment section below, what would you side deck against this deck, or how do you beat this deck, because I'm still trying to find out that myself, and this deck just seems like it's too good. Like you can make Ophion, that like beats the deck really hard, but other than that, like, there's not really anything I can think of that just shuts this down, because if you play macro, it's cool. When this card's banished, you gotta add another one. But anyways, thanks for watching. Asian Ice signing out.